Were you able to guess the Suncatcher I was making? If you enjoy the salty air, you might be a big fan of these. So stick around, I'm going to reveal the Suncatcher in this video. Let's get started.
Sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
In this video, I'll share with you how I made this lighthouse. I really enjoyed making this piece, and it's a good pattern for someone who's just now starting out in stained glass. If you like the pattern, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll leave a link to the pattern in the description. Now, let's start with drawing up the pattern. Now, the first step is drawing up your pattern and then deciding how you will hang it. You can use other patterns to inspire you, as I took this one from a panel piece and just used the main focal item from it. With this one, I decided to make my own hanger so that I can solder it in and ensure that it supports the weight.
Now the next step is to cut out your pattern. Here I'm using normal scissors to cut out this pattern because the lines were not that thick. Now if your lines were much thicker, then you would want to make your cut lines on the inside of that line. Step 3 of the process is transferring your pattern to your glass. Here I am using the glue paper method. By using this method, this would allow me to get my cutter right up next to the paper and get really close cuts. This will save time later when you get to the grinding process. You will not have to grind off as much glass. Now I have all my pieces glued onto the glass, and now I'm ready to move on to cutting my pieces. All right, we are back. We're going to cut out our pieces, and we're going to start off by cutting out the red piece first. You want to get up right up close to that paper as you can. Now this one had a small little glass pocket in it, and that's what that pop is. Then you just get right up as close as you can, and then you'll be able to have to do less grinding to your pieces. I'm going to just go ahead and score all these, and then I'm going to come back and break all the glass out. For some reason it didn't break along that score line. Okay, I went ahead and recut that out, and now we're going to finish breaking these out. Again, when you're breaking, you want to break and pull away at the same time. So that way you get a good clean break. Now sometimes when you get these smaller pieces, what I like to do is I got another pair of breaking pliers, grossing pliers, but they're the real smaller ones. And I like to just kind of hold it with that rather than my finger, and then both break away at the same time. And a lot of times it will break away nicely for you. Sometimes if there's a small fracture, then it will break off at that fracture, but that one came out good. So again, you can use that same method here. I thought it would be enough for me to break off, but it's not. So now that I've got those pieces out, we'll go ahead on to the rest of them. gonna grind that out. I got a feeling that if I try and break this, it's gonna break right here. So I'm gonna use the grinder to get that out. All right, well, we're gonna move on over to the grinder now. Now, step 5 of the process is grinding your pieces. Let's get started. Now, when I grind, I run it by really quick. If I have some grinding to do, like all I really want to do is just smooth out those edges. As you can see, it's not much grinding. Really smoothing out the edges is all I'm really wanting to do here. Once I start placing it back into the pattern, there's certain areas I need to do some detail on. I will. I'll come back to the grinder. As I'm getting ready to foil a piece, I'll test fit it. And once one's foiled, and if it doesn't quite work there, then I'll try and do some detail sanding or grinding on it, sanding. With some detail grinding on it. All right, that's all the grinding. We're gonna take our paper off our pieces and get them all out and dry them all off. Basically, I take some water in a bucket, put all my pieces in, let them soak. I actually use warm water. Let them soak, and then you take them out and take the paper will usually slide right off of them. And you get all the glue off just by rubbing down on the end in the water. So all the pieces. We will now move on to a quick dry fit, and then we'll move into foiling. All right, we're back. Now we're going to do a quick dry fit. Alright, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and move on over to foiling. The next step is step 6, foiling your glass pieces. So now we're going to go ahead and start foiling our pieces. Again, I'm using 7/32 silver backed foil. And again, what I like to do is I like to ensure that my edges or my overlap piece is actually on a solder bead edge. And then I start to foil the piece, and I kind of look ahead and just kind of measure out the best I can. I just kind of eyeball it and make sure I get it evenly. I would use the foil machine if I had a lot of the silver pieces to do, but because I use predominantly all black in a lot of my pieces, black back foil, I don't want to have to change it out. So it just gets to be a little bit different. So that's why I keep my most dominant one in there. right, this is the final piece of our foiling session here. And now we're going to do a quick dry fit to kind of see how everything fits together. I think that looks pretty good. And now we're ready to move on to soldering. So I ran out of the actual foil sheet, a wider foil sheet that I would have to put over this. I just used my 1/4 inch black backed foil and was able to get it completely covered, and then put the foil around the edge so that it would basically seal it up. And then what I'll do is I'll draw my cutouts for the windows, so then that way what I have left is basically the seam to give the grid of the window. I think that's gonna actually turn out pretty good. So, well, our next step was to go ahead and head over to the solder station. Sorry about the mistake, everyone, but here is the finished lighthouse. The solder lines came out pretty well, and so did the copper foil overlay effect on the top of the lighthouse. Now, wouldn't it look great sitting on this remote beach at the point? Hope you liked the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching, and watch the next video coming up on your screen.